The Healing Patch, the last segment in our Thankfulness series, and more. Coming up today on Joy in the City, True Stories. Joy in the City is a program highlighting people and organizations having an impact on our city. All too often, we hear about the problems and the dysfunction in our culture. But we are coming with a different approach as we take a look at the good things going on right here in our community. I'm Lindsay Irvin, and you're about to see what God is doing in our city. We want to thank our program sponsors, Park Home for the donation of furniture used in our studio, Taylor Design and Events for beautifully decorating our studio space, and our platinum sponsor, Harry's Construction, for their ongoing support of Joy in the City. The Healing Patch Children's Grief Program is a peer support program designed specifically for children and their families who have suffered the death of a loved one, such as a parent, sibling, grandparent, or close family member. They offer a safe environment where grieving children and their families can discover that they are not alone in their grief by interacting with others who have encountered similar losses. By sharing memories and experiences, families discover that what they are going through is normal and that hope and healing are possible. Shalen Steinbugl from the Healing Patch shared about the work they are doing.
Thank you for stopping by, joining me for a few moments today. Before we get into talk about Healing Patch, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Sure. My name's Shalen Steinbugl, and I'm the volunteer coordinator and grief specialist at the Healing Patch.
Okay, so what is the Healing Patch?
So the Healing Patch is a free peer support program for children and their families who have experienced the death of a loved one. We serve children from preschool to high school. They realize that they're not alone in their grief whenever they come to the Healing Patch, and then they quickly learn that hope and healing are still possible.
What need arose that made it necessary for this to come about?
So the Healing Patch was first created in 2006, so we're on our 14th, 15th year now, and there are so many children that suffer the death of a parent, especially in this area. Recent numbers just came out from the Judy's House in Denver, Colorado, and they did national statistics, and they said that Cambria County ranks second highest for children who have lost a parent to death. And Blair County is not far behind, I think at 12. So we are up there as far as Pennsylvania counties. And sadly, this trend, just keeps getting more and more as the years go on. So the committee first saw that need in 2006, and we're here to serve kids these days now.
And can you give us an example? What does that look like? How does that play out?
Sure. So right now, with COVID-19, we look a lot different than what I'm about to explain. Typically, though, we meet every other Tuesday evening during the school year, and we have two centers, Blair and Cambria, and we meet there from about 6 to 8-ish. Volunteers are in each of the children's rooms. So we have a littles room, which is preschool age, middles room, 6 to 9, tweens, 10 to 12, and then a teen room. And in Cambria County, tween and teen are combined. So in each of those rooms, we have at least 2 volunteers to facilitate with the kids, get them to talk about their grief and their experiences, to make those connections, express their feelings with others. So we stay in those groups for about 50 minutes. But prior to breaking off into the groups, we all come together and we eat dinner, we break off into the groups, then the volunteers come back at the end to debrief and get anything heavy off their chest before they leave.
And so there's a relationship developed through the dinner time and all that stuff. How long that is someone, when they come to be part of this, how long? Is it weeks? Is it months? How long are they part of this?
So families can remain involved with the Healing Patch for as long as they need. We know that grief has no timeline. Some people need more interaction with others and more support than others. So we say that they can stay with us as long as they feel they need to. Usually we get some natural attrition from the group as the years go on, but we have had some kids that have been there for the last 3, going on 4 years now.
Is there an age that they're no longer part of this? Is it 18?
It is 18. But we say high school. So if they turn 19 while they're still in high school, it's okay. As long as they're 18 whenever they start the year with us.
And if people are interested, how can they participate? What do they have to do?
So families that are interested in enrolling can call us directly. We have a 1-800 number. It's 1-800-445-6262. And they can call and we will do an initial intake with them just to discuss the death and how we can help them, if we are the right program for them or if we can provide resources for them. And then they come in for a one-on-one orientation. So we show them the center, we show them their kids' room, and we just see if they'll be a good fit for us and us for them. And then they're able to start at the next scheduled group. So we enroll all times throughout the year.
Okay.
And then as far as volunteering goes, if somebody wanted to be involved as a volunteer, they can call that 1-800 number again. And since I'm the volunteer coordinator, I'd walk them through the steps. And we require child abuse clearances, criminal background checks, flu shots, and just, the ability to connect and listen.
And if somebody is part of this outside of your group meetings, is there if somebody's going through something a night you're not meeting, is there do you guys reach out to them, or how does that work in those moments?
So we aren't there for the families immediately after the death. Typically, if somebody calls us, we want them to be at a place where they can talk about their grief. So we aren't reaching out to families. They might call us really early on after the death, and we'll say, maybe you want to give it some time. Maybe you need to, just have some time to think about what happened and be able to come and talk with others about what happened. But then we do have some families who are ready a week later, and we'll take them, but we don't push or anything. We're just there for whenever they're ready.
Right now with changes with COVID-19,
Yes.
How does that look? How does your
It looks a lot different. So we can only have less than 25 people in the building at a time right now. And with volunteers, we max out at that number already. So we wouldn't be able to serve children or their families at all if we were following those guidelines. So what we're doing now is what most people are doing, is something virtual. And we are actually able to serve more families this way than what we would have been able to do normally, which is kind of a unique way of looking at it. And so we give all our families the option of receiving an activity packet. And so we meet with each age group twice monthly via Microsoft Teams, which is like Zoom. Mm-hmm. And we will go through the activity with them as a group. So we'll meet with the littles on Monday night, the middles on Tuesday night, and we'll do the activity with them. And we try to keep it as close to what a normal group night would look like. But and we also have some families who don't want to join us virtually, but we still send all those activities to them so they can do it together as a family.
Okay.
And we have some families who are just waiting until we can go back to normal.
Sure. You're going to have that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the viewers that watch this program are part of the faith community here in town. What is something that we can be praying for concerning this?
I think right now, COVID-19 is going to affect a lot of children and their families. With over 220,000 deaths, I believe, right now. Obviously, there are children who are losing their parents or primary caregivers. And I think, we just need to pray for those kids and to make sure that they can seek the help that they need, support from other kids. And it'll look a lot different with COVID, but just to realize that they're still not alone and there are other kids going through the same thing.
All right. Indeed. Well, thank you for coming by today, doing this for a few minutes. And we pray that people will get to know this and maybe take advantage of some of these things that they maybe not have known before.
Yeah, so, thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
If you know of a person or organization impacting our city, we want to hear about it. You can contact us at 814-944-1948 or by email at stories@jointhecity.org.
Today's Platinum sponsor is Harry's Construction, whose motto is, if you can dream it, we can create it. Recently opening Harry's Construction Kitchen and Bath Center so you, the consumer, can see examples of the variety of services provided by the team at Harry's Construction. Regardless of the project size, Harry's team approaches each project as if it is his own home. Be sure to visit Harry's Construction Kitchen and Bath Center at 114 Main Street in Bellwood. You can also visit their website to see pictures of home improvement projects over the years. Thanks again to Harry Halk and the team for supporting Joy in the City.
As we close out our Thankfulness series, we wanted to share the story of a young man named Caleb Barr. Caleb has overcome many obstacles which could have destroyed him, but his infectious attitude has helped him defeat those things that would hinder him. Though the effects of autism take on many characteristics, he is a motivated young man who has pushed through any limitation culture has put on him. Caleb is truly an amazing young man. Listen as he shares his gratitude-filled story.
Well, my name's Kayla Barr, and a little bit about my background is whenever I was born, I was a complicated birth. I wasn't able to be born like a regular baby, so I had to be sucked out with a medical vacuum. And right afterwards, instead of my parents being able to hold me, like right afterwards, they had to cut the umbilical cord that was wrapped around my neck. And that's where my story begins.
When he was younger, he was probably about maybe 1, 2. When little things I noticed as a parent that was just not right. You know, when he was reading, he would make noises instead of talking. And then as he started getting a little bit older and got to school, he was struggling. And so when we took him to get him checked, they was saying he had ADD. Well, as a mother, I still knew something was wrong. So they got him some help in school. He was in learning support and just kept pushing on, and through everything he just continued just to do as much as he could. You know, he was a strong little boy. Probably about the age of, I'd say, 8, they finally did diagnose him with PDD, which is a form of autism. So finally we had a diagnosis to kind of understand and, you know, to learn a little bit more of what he is dealing with.
My autism has been a big battle. Like, I didn't know how to do in school. I wasn't always the smartest kid in the class. I was in level 2 for maybe 1 marking period, and then I had to go back to level 1. I almost always had an aide within the classroom to help me out with my learning disability, and some classes I would even fall behind on.
But still continue through everything. He was still just strong, and we were always there. It was a struggle. There was days, you know, we'd sit there for half hour trying to do homework with him and things that he just couldn't get. And but the school district worked with us along the way and, you know, helped us out. If whatever we needed, they'd tell us to do maybe 15 minutes of homework with him, so don't overwhelm him, and then sign off so that he wasn't so overwhelmed.
Basically, I fell behind in school a little bit, but God helped me graduate. God helped me through it, and I graduated, and I want to become a pastor. Now, not just any pastor. I want to become a youth pastor because I feel like that's what God's calling me to, is a youth pastor. With how great I work with the kids on Wednesday and Sunday, I've been told that I got a good handling with the kids on Sunday.
Here at our church, he works with the kids, and his mentality, because his mindset is such a young age, he does wonderful with the little kids. He's kind of on their level and knows what they like, and even though he's 19, he's not at that age level. He's much younger, so he just gets it. He just fits well with the kids, and they just love him. And so being here at church really just helps him feel like he fits in. And in a world where it's just hard for people to see him, that he looks normal is what they call it. Like his outward appearance, he just looks like a normal 19-year-old, but inside he struggles, learning wise, but he just continued to push on. He never let that stop him. He just was a fighter from the beginning, from birth. When trying to have him, he got stuck. He got the cord wrapped around his neck. He just fought. He fought and come here, and he's still a continued fighter. And I think God, this, even though people are like, why did this happen to me? I don't ever feel like that. I just feel he's just my normal child to me. So, it was a struggle in the beginning, and you just kind of learn what, to go with it as you go. And you look at him, and he just shows you that life is good. Doesn't matter what's thrown at you. Life is what you get, and make the best of what you got.
Pastor Chris Heller oversees the children's ministry at Transformation Church, and Caleb is a vital part of this ministry.
First of all, I want to say that I think of Caleb as one of the most gentle and beautiful people I have known. When he works with us, with the children, he's pleasant. He gets down where they are. He is always smiling, always in a good mood, and he always contributes. He also helps on our vans. And when he helps on the vans, he'll be found singing with them and just having a good time, which helps that time pass away and helps that driver have a good trip because the kids are occupied. He also, when I think of having something that's keeping you from making some goals in your life, he has a good attitude about it. He doesn't complain ever, and he is just always looking forward to the next thing. He works hard, he is a great contributor, and he is very, very sweet to talk to and to get to know.
My struggle isn't like everybody else's. Mine is learning disability-wise. Some other people have it worse than I do. Like I said, I thought I was going to fail school. I thought I wasn't going to be able to make it. But that's whenever God helped me through it. Not only by himself, but helped me out with placing aids within my life. And I had some amazing helpers, and they understood my struggle.
Recently, Caleb spent hours planning, choreographing, and practicing for a Michael Jackson dance show.
Some of the things that I initially struggled with but overcame was, for 4 months I practiced for a Michael Jackson show for my family. And it was hard learning some of those dance moves. Even though it was put right in front of me, it was still something that I struggled with, but with practice I was able to come through with it.
When he has his mind set on something, he will fight and do it till he does what he wants perfect. So he was planning a Michael Jackson show, and I would say maybe 2 years, a couple days a week, he would just get up and dance and put Michael Jackson songs on and just dance and learn the moves. So he was perfect. He would go out and buy the stuff and set up draw the way he wanted the show to go. And he set up this big show, for family and friends, and had it all planned out and did little invitations online by himself, and he pretty much did everything on his own. And sometimes I'd get up and dance with him too with the Michael Jackson, but he just is a go-getter, and he did it for about 2 years, and his show is just amazing. He bought fireworks and put on a big show, and it was just made me cry, because it just shows you how much he doesn't care. He'll just give his all regardless, and he's good at it. Really is.
if you have a child who has a learning disability or autism or something like that, I'd encourage just keep fighting even with the kid, like for knowing that they have a bright future. They may not be the brightest kid, but they're your kid and they need you at that time of need. That autism may take over and make them angry or something like that, but don't get discouraged. Keep holding on to that child and helping them through life. There's not a lot more that I could say about it, but the main thing I wanted to say was that in the end, God comes through.
Coming up next month on Join the City.
From your house, it goes to a drop-off center, which is usually, not always, but usually a church close, in close proximity to where you live. From there, it goes on a huge truck to any one of several processing centers around the country.
The bell ringers that are out there, even right now, ringing the bells, are collecting money for the Salvation Army. All the money stays local, and it's to help us not just change lives, but change souls.
Blair Hope focuses 100% of our activities on children in foster care here in Blair County.
We really felt like we wanted to reach out in our community and show these people that Jesus loves them. That's the whole point behind it, was just to reach out to people in need who may not be able to provide for their families in a Christmas type setting, or if you will, to have any extra to be able to do that. And we wanted to make sure we filled that void.
But it's not only a thing for need. It's more of family. These kids are our family.
As we close out today's show, here are a few thoughts from Troy Ferguson.
Today I want to talk to you about a situation that I experienced many, many years ago about keeping a cool head. What does that mean? Basically, even if no one's looking, you still need to maintain a degree of self-control. Many, many years ago, I was youth pastoring in Richmond, Virginia. And there was a situation where I was going through, and I remember this like it was yesterday, and this was more than 25 years ago. I was going through McDonald's drive-thru, and I ordered a simple thing, 2 hamburgers, fries, and a Coke, I believe. It was a very simple meal. I get up to the window, and it's taking longer than it should to do this simple meal. The man behind me starts honking his horn, and I just get frustrated. Like, what in the world? I have no control over this. He honked his horn again. During this time, I'm thinking, okay, it's nothing I can do. They're taking longer than expected. You just got to be patient. 3rd or 4th time, he honked his horn. And let me just tell you, now, realize I'm a pastor. I'm a youth pastor at this moment, but there was concepts that were going through my mind of how to respond to this idiot behind me honking his horn that weren't the most Christ-like, that weren't the most pastoral. I don't need to go through what those things were that I was thinking of saying or maybe indicating, but it was not godly. I'll just say that. I believe it was the 4th or 5th time he honked his horn that finally the food came out, and I got it, frustrated, angry, bitter. This took my joy for that moment in time. I'm pulling away, and I'm looking at this guy because I want to stare him down. I want to show him that you're an idiot. To my surprise, as I turn to pull away, I see the car. The man behind me is one of the elders from our church that I youth pastored, honking his horn to mess with me, just to give me a hard time. He's laughing hysterically at this event. I obviously changed my frustration to humor, but in that moment, I say, thank you, Jesus, that I didn't say or do something that would have got me in big trouble. Sometimes we we have a cool head when people are around, maybe our pastor or our parents or our children. But then there are times that we're on our own. We're out away from everyone else, and we say, I'm going to respond this way. I'm going to do something like this. My challenge with you is we need to keep a cool head. We need to maintain a level of professionalism and excellence in whatever we're doing. And you never know what you say or don't say to someone, how it's going to impact them. You don't know what kind of day they're having, and maybe somebody is truly giving you a hard time, saying something wrong or honking their horn at you, and maybe they're having a rough day. You might want to turn around and say something back to them. My challenge is be Christ-like, take the higher road, and don't respond the way that the world responds. The Bible says this in 1 Peter 5:8. Keep a cool head, stay alert. The devil is poised to pounce and would like nothing better than to catch you napping. Keep your guard up. You're not only ones plunged into these hard times. You know, I think that's very applicable today, that we want to say and do things in response to our culture, our governor, our president, and we want to look at situations and say, I'm justified, I have the right to say this and say that. And you might have that right, and you might be justified. But let's be wise. Let's keep a cool head. You never know, behind you might be an elder in your church, and you don't want to flip him the bird, per se, because it will probably get you fired. I am blessed for the friends and family that I met in Richmond when I was there, and I remember that one event, and it has stayed with me for many, many years, that you should always keep a cool head. You never know who's watching. Have a blessed day.
That's all the time we have today. Thanks for watching Joy in the City, True Stories. Let me encourage you to watch other episodes of people and organizations having an impact on our community on ABC 23 at 5:30 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. every Sunday. You can also catch us each week on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Until then, be encouraged because God is moving in our city.